political climate is toxic right now in the UK. Subversive elements who imagine themselves to be progressive are indulging in all manner of behaviours intended to prevent the guardians of liberal values from being able to speak freely. Freedom of expression is not easy for a nation to come by because a citizenry ennobled by the right to speak and act freely presents a distinct threat to the powers that be and their dominant ideologies, particularly in the context of now, feminism. The United Kingdom has had this conversation regarding free expression. It ignited during the Enlightenment and was pushed for decades after, and UK citizens do enjoy free speech as a rule, but increasingly we repudiate it, and that plays dangerously into the hands of those who would take from us our capacity to think and to resist their better judgment. When Carl Benjamin informed the Right Honourable Jess Phillips that he wouldn't even rape her several years ago, he was playing with fire. He wanted to prove that the mainstream media would misrepresent this non-threat against an MP hell-bent on censoring the British public as a real threat, and he wanted to cause some controversy. He roundly succeeded, and he's since done the principled thing and roundly refused to apologise. Unfortunately, the British public are roundly ignorant of the service that Benjamin did for us with his tasteless tweet, and utterly oblivious to what is at stake if we allow authoritarian elements to continue with their nefarious plans to stifle our voices, plans which are now being justified with reference to his comments. The mainstream media continues to churn out misleading headlines about the nature of the non-threat. Hysterical feminists argue that not only was the comment misogynistic, but that it is part of a sustained effort to subordinate women. Sam Smethers and the Fawcett Society are running a Change.org petition to persuade the government to initiate legislation for a lifetime ban from standing for office for those who promote rape or violence, in order to defend democracy, in an Orwellian sense, presumably. At the time of writing, nearly 50,000 people have signed. Phillips, true to form, said the Electoral Commission should surely have standards about who can and can't stand for election. If Facebook and Twitter can ban these people for hate speech, how is it they are allowed to stand for election? And West Midlands police are desperately looking for a crime to charge him with. Benjamin has made himself the canary in the coal mine. Our politicians, civil services, charities and mainstream commentators are feeding hoses down the shaft, and our public are saying, turn the taps on, or turning a blind eye, seemingly unaware that in that hole reside our civil liberties. There is no moral right not to be offended. In fact, it's incumbent upon a free society to regularly inflict offence on as many members as possible, as regularly as possible. Moreover, as Benjamin rightly pointed out in a recent video, we can joke about anything, and that is an important thing that we're able to do. The alternative is a world devoid of humour, the essential tool we use to reduce the horror of events that are beyond our control. Humour normalises horrible events, because horrible events are inevitable. They happen to everyone, and we have two options. We can either run and hide and never speak of such a thing and pretend it'll never happen to us, up till the day it does, or we can stare it in the face and say, we are not afraid of you. In fact, we're so not afraid of you, we're going to laugh at you. This will not break us. Not only is the mainstream media and malevolent politicians complicit in this quest to take this natural and inalienable right to speak from us, however, but they have the support of foolish activists who express their allegiance to this illiberal creed by seeking to intimidate individuals who will not toe the line. Carl Benjamin has been targeted with common assaults involving the throwing of milkshakes and kippers, as has Nigel Farage and an elderly veteran campaigning for Farage's Brexit party. And yesterday, Justice for Men and Boys party leader Mike Buchanan was also targeted with a milkshake assault. After assaulting Mike at a local pub before he and I were to deliver talks at Cambridge University, activists met us at the talks venue and blocked the entrance, which was also the fire escape. Listening to them singing, "There are many, many more of us than you," and "No excuse for male violence," the former so far detached from John Stuart Mill's liberal argument that protecting minority opinions is critically important, and the latter just such amazing projection from a collective from whence a man and woman had just committed a common assault on Buchanan. The biblical quote was brought to my mind, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." These are highly privileged young adults, desperate to be a part of something. They're indoctrinated and they're blinded by the dysfunctional patterns of thinking they've internalized and the feeling of community they can access, standing arm in arm, singing and laughing as revolutionaries. Morality binds and blinds. They're not evil. They're fools who promote the evils of authoritarianism. Problem is that they think we are evil, and that our sin, which they can't explicitly identify, is contagious. As they were leaving the talk, a man and his 16-year-old son were harassed and assaulted by them. The activists had no reason to believe that they'd attended the talks out of anything more than curiosity, but still felt it incumbent upon themselves to attack them. The whole situation is so terribly sad. The fact that British citizens are not learning that they have a debt of gratitude to the liberal values that have made our society so wonderful, prosperous and successful, and that they should be exercising their power to protect and expand these values. Free speech, freedom of association, meritocracy, equality of opportunities, treatment, choices. The fact that they hate these values is astounding. My hope is great. I do believe humanity will progress, but it won't be a straight road, and I fear that the immediate future in the UK is bleak, and that the work that we in these countercultures opposing authoritarianism are engaged in is an investment in a future that will happen, but that we will never see.